Most people think the hardest parts of this game are raising capital and finding properties. And honestly, so did I when I first started out. Looking back, I couldn't have been further from the truth. Finding properties is actually the easy part. Operating it is where the real work starts. The reality is if you're in the right market, the deals will come. Once you prove your model, usually the capital will follow. One of the most difficult parts, or really there's two difficult parts, contractors and property management. And when I first started, I obsessed over finding deals, analyzing cash flow, and I never really thought about, hey, what is this going to look like from a property management perspective and tenant placement perspective as this portfolio starts to grow. And as the portfolio starts to grow, 20 properties, 30 properties, 50 plus properties, things happen. You got maintenance calls, you have tenant communication, you have turnover, you have documents that you need to submit, inspections, and so on. So if your systems aren't really tight, things can get out of control a lot quicker than you think. That's when I realized that property management is one of the toughest parts of this business. And here's what really surprised me. The first thing I realized is you are completely dependent on someone else's systems, right? So let's say on average, property management company charges 10% of the rent that's collected per month. So you have to ask yourself the question of how many doors does each employee need to manage for that business to be profitable? Then you got to ask yourself, is your property really getting the attention that it needs? The second thing I realized is a lot of these companies get compensated on your repairs, aka your maintenance, leasing, tenant turnover, and that's how they're incentivized to increase their revenue. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. Every company deserves to make money. What I am saying is that you should understand incentives, because incentives definitely drive behavior. Then there's tenant placement, and I think a lot of investors underestimate this. Tenant placement is not an administrative role, it's a sales role. There's a ton of follow-up, there's a ton of detail, schedule booking showings, background checks, real background checks, setting up move-in dates, collecting paperwork, collecting deposits. It's a ton of work to get the right tenant in place. Every day you're getting hit with inquiries of people who are interested in the property. You have to follow up with those people, weed those people out, et cetera, et cetera. It really is a full-time job, and make no mistake about it, it is a sales position. The real question that you have to ask yourself is a property management company able to give you the attention that you really need to place the right tenants? And really, can they? And lastly is maintenance. Tenants don't expect for nothing to ever break. What they expect is for them to be fixed quickly and to be fixed correctly, right? A tenant isn't going to remember that the hot water heater went out, but they are going to remember that it went out for 5 days, right? Happy tenants, they stay longer, and tenants staying longer is where this business becomes profitable. Here's the trick to it all as a landlord, in my opinion, is that money in properties isn't made when you buy the property. It's made when you keep tenants in place for a long time. If you have tenants moving out every single year, you're never going to make money. It's that simple, right? You got to do a turnover. People are moving out. You have lost rent from the move out. You have repairs when they move out. You're going to lose all of your cash flow from that year if you're lucky. All right. So everything I just talked about, from maintenance to tenant placement to systems, all these things are a direct correlation to tenant retention. Eventually, I realized I had two choices. Choice one was continue to hope and pray that someone else would run their business the same that I would, because it's a direct correlation to my business, or build the systems myself and start my own property management company. So I built my own property management company, and that company manages all of my portfolio and all of our turnkey buyers' portfolios as well too. And I'm not sitting here saying that all property managers are bad, because they're not. I just want complete control over the owner experience, the tenant experience, and overall growth of the portfolio.